Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the show. Today, I have with me Lillian Pierson. She is a wonderful, wonderful lady who I've got to know well over the last year or so. She has had a full career in data. She has immersed herself in data and does a million and one different things in data, which we're going to explore on this podcast episode. We're going to find out about the work she does, the work she's done in her past. We're going to understand what it's like to be someone who's just immersed in this space. Really looking forward to this conversation. Super interested in hearing the story, some of which I already know, but we can re-go over it. So Lillian, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks so much for having me, Jason. This is going to be a lot of fun. I already know. Yeah, it's been a long time coming, actually.
Yeah, we've tried to get this going for a little while. We had a little foray into Clubhouse together a little while ago, which was interesting, which maybe we can come back to. But why don't you introduce yourself to our wonderful audience to get us going?
All right. Hi, I'm Lillian Pierson, and I support data professionals to becoming world-class data leaders and entrepreneurs.
Amazing. And what does some of that mean? What does some of that mean?
Okay. So yeah, I was like, should I go on to the whole spiel? I'll give highlights reels. So claims to fame.
Oh yeah, claims to fame. I like it.
Between my partnerships with LinkedIn Learning and Wiley, we together have educated over 1 million data professionals on data science. And my business, I'm the CEO of Data Mania, which I started back in 2012. Within that business, we have supported over 10% of Fortune 100 companies. And yes, I also support data entrepreneurs who over 10% of my mentorship clients have landed 6-figure contracts within their first 7 months of signing up. So those are like my claims to fame, but what that looks like, I support data leaders and data entrepreneurs. So I'm helping them with data strategy, leadership, all sorts of topics and issues that come up under the leadership umbrella, the data space, and then also helping other people who are growing, data professionals who are growing their own businesses and stuff.
Great. Well, there's so many different things there, and I also know from our conversations and talking to you that prior to all of that, you were sort of data science and data engineering background as well. So you've sort of you've done a hell of a lot of stuff in this space, right?
Yeah. I started off full time in the data field back in 2012. And so I was a data analytics developer at local government, and that's when I started building my brand then. And then I went into data science and created, so I've got data science courses with LinkedIn, and I've got also the book. I've wrote, I guess they have, I don't know if it's 4 or 5 books out with my name on it, but the one that I maintain to this day is Data Science for Dummies. And yeah, I did a bunch of stuff with data science, and then I feel weird going on and on about myself, but so then I went more into data strategy just because that's more of my passion, strategy and business, and looking at the big picture. So yeah.
Nice. Well, as I say, you've just added even more to the pile of stuff you've done in data, which is amazing. A few things that popped out there. So Data Science for Dummies, and that's your book. What have you learned through sort of creating that book, and what value do people get out of sort of using it?
Yeah, I learned so much. That is such a great question, actually. Okay, so it is, I think it's 4.4 out of 5 stars on Amazon, which I'm happy about and excited about. I wrote the book in 2014, and they wanted, I didn't know the Dummies label or anything like that. So I just wrote about data science,
Right.
all the things that fall under data science, and shared information there. But I didn't know about having an ideal client, who's my reader, and what is the transformation, what result is this book going to get for them. So it was like, yes, I've got like some amazing people I've met through the book, and the book helped a lot of people, but it didn't take them through a journey. It didn't take them from giving them something, that tangible, besides just a bunch of information about data science. So the second version, I really just improved. I worked on improving the first version and like went deeper into some of the machine learning topics, but it still didn't have, it was more, okay, so now it's aimed if you want to get a data job, data, you want to improve your career with data, but it was still kind of like, who are you talking, like, to me, I look at it in the past, I'm like, who am I talking to? Because I'm like, am I talking to the business owner? Am I talking to the data professional? Am I talking to, because it's just data science, but data science isn't, that actually is just a very broad topic, and you need to know who you're talking to and exactly what the transformation is, right? Yeah. So we're doing an update now, and the topic is, it's very, very clearly for data professionals, and it's, it teaches them about data science, but I've now taking it, making it more strategic. So not, you can take your data science skills, but that doesn't mean you need to be a data scientist. There are 50 different types of jobs you could do, like with data science skills. And so, we're going into more of like, I'm teaching them how to evaluate use cases and put together like how to plan out their projects and like data project management and data science. And it's directly aimed at like helping data professionals get knowledge about data science, but then also helping them apply that knowledge by understanding the context of how data science actually creates money for businesses and like helping. So I'm really passionate about it, and I'm like excited because it's finally going to have like, it's not just a book. It's not just they should have mentors for authors.
Yeah, it's not just just in inverted commas, because there's nothing wrong with this, but it's not focused purely on the technical side of doing data science. It's like, it's putting it in a wrapper. It's talking about how to apply it, how to think about it, how to go through the end-to-end cycle of coming up with the reason for building some data science, the purpose of it, and sort of executing against it.
The why, because that is the real value. That's the real value. Because I went to law school as well, and I had in contracts class, I had I heard a really, really amazing professor. He had been a JAG attorney, and he always talked about, like, it's not how doesn't matter. You could hire a technician for the how. It's the why. You have to understand the why, because that's where the magic happens.
Yeah.
And so this book really, I try and like create a lot of context for why this actually matters and what to do with it in order to create impact.
So we talk a lot about data strategy with organizations, and that is the more important thing than anything else. More important than the data, more important than technology, more important than the tools you use is what's the purpose of the thing you're trying to achieve. And that can be very, visionary, sort of Simon Sinek why, or it can just be, practical. Well, this is to make us, improvement in our revenues, or improvement in our customer engagement, or reduction in the cost it takes to run a certain part of the organization. But I think that context is really important. Do you think that feels like that changes? It does, like as you were talking about, changes your audience, because not, some people just want to learn data science. They want to be good data scientists. They want to learn data science. They want to code away. They want to build stuff.
That's true.
And I think, but I think it's almost, no one can be in data without understanding the context of the thing that they're developing for the reason that you've just given.
They can't. I mean,
they're not as effective. I don't think
it's not advisable. But the thing is that people are coming into this book. If you're reading Data Science for Dummies, that means you're not like, no, probably anyone who's already like deep into data implementation work isn't going to pick up that book anyway. It's kind of a gateway.
Yeah, true.
And I think so it covers the implementation details, like high level, like the math and statistics and like high level talk. You can't, in one book, I cannot go into that, all this stuff. And yeah, and people would complain, like, oh, this doesn't teach me how to do data science. And I'm like, well, okay, so it teach like R, we've got Python, we've got SQL. Like, I can't teach you all of these different things in one book.
Yeah.
But the thing is that, like, some people are implementation, like I have a quiz I created. It's called the Data Superhero Quiz. And I try and like help people figure out, where do they really fit? Are they data implementation people? Are they naturally more data leader, or are they data entrepreneur? And my husband is implementation person, and he's super smart, and he could do a lot of different, really amazing, he does amazing things. And there's so much opportunity if you're just a pure implementation person. So the book doesn't discredit that, like, it's a gateway. So then if they want to go deeper into all the implementation stuff, then definitely go for that. But it also opens up a pathway of, like, if you want to do leadership and strategy and other things with your data skills besides just build machine learning models, there's like need for that,
Yeah. And is this the kind of so sort of book aside, is this the kind of stuff you mentioned? I think you said you've trained 1 million people through the sort of LinkedIn training. And so how's that? Is it a similar kind of material? What kind of what were the 1 million? Who were they? What did they learn?
So the 1 million people, good question. That number, it's well over 1 million now. Is a number I amassed by looking at how many people have taken my LinkedIn learning courses, which I don't know if they're still showing that, but they were showing that. So I got screen copies of, all of that information that was given out publicly. Cool. And the people who had the readership count on the book, in terms of how many purchases there were. But, like a lot of people, I'm sure that there's a lot more in terms of the book, because people don't necessarily purchase the book. They just have, I don't know. So
you're trying to give the data answer there. You're like, I've got a spreadsheet that tells me how many people have done all the things. I suppose I'm more interested in, what kind of things so on the LinkedIn learning course, what kind of stuff was covered there? Is it that sort of starter introductory data science type material?
Yeah, it takes them from basic, just like setting up Jupyter Notebook, all the way through. That series really takes them all the way through beginning of artificial neural nets and to building a recommendation systems in Python. And so it's a lot. It's, gosh, I don't know, I guess about, I really can't remember now, maybe 15 hours of it's all coding. Yeah. So, and then I maintain that with them. So I go to the studio every few years, or sometimes I record here, but then I have to set up a cubicle in my home, and that's not really what I like to do.
No. Yeah, and we should say you're I'm talking to you from Thailand. You're in Koh Samui, right?
I am in Koh Samui, an island in the Gulf of Thailand. So
lovely. How long have you been there?
I have been here since 2014. I'm hoping I get to spend the rest of my life here too. It's home.
That's lovely. That is a lovely place to be.
Yeah.
So what you talk about books. You've got lots of different books. You talked about, you've got your training courses. I know you mentor other sort of data entrepreneurs who are looking to build their company in advising or coaching or mentoring or working with other organizations. You've got your own sort of advisory and coaching you do through Data Mania. Such a sort of broad, as I said before, you've sort of got the background in hands-on data science, and obviously that's why you can write courses around it. Why this space? Why data? What's kind of inspired you to sort of be in this space? And what's kept you here?
Well, that is, yeah, that's a good question. And I have had a lot of pivots. So you're laid out all of these things I've done. And that's just because I've pivoted a lot in the work I do as a data professional. Data is one of these things that my very first job, like I was even on spreadsheet, like playing with spreadsheets in 1985.
Right.
So like getting into my dad's computer, 1987. But 1985, I was already interested. And then my first job was basically data entry and then billing. It was data. It was like, okay, translate this up. It was the dentist like billing. So put the data in and then bill them and get the money. And so like, but there's a lot of just like data stuff. And then I just always worked with data, and I'm an environmental engineer. So after I got my degree, I started working in the field. I got a job before I graduated because I knew data. I knew geographic information systems. So, and then I got into the field and they wanted me, okay, so the job, I got this degree. The job is to design like sewer systems. Right. And wastewater treatment plants. And, and they're having meetings, lunch and learns, and talking about valve fittings for wastewater plants. And I'm just like, this is just not me. But the data part, the hydraulic modeling of like, modeling out like what's the pressure going to be at this point in the system, and then what are the constraints, so that was always something that I was like, yes, I like this. So that's kind of how I flowed into the data, like getting into data as like a data professional.
Yeah. And what's kind of kept you here? Why have you pivoted into more and different data stuff? Your skills.
It's just been, I started in data science, and then I didn't like, okay, this is probably going to sound bad, but it's the truth. Okay. So I started working on my business back after I had a daughter, and I needed to make more money because I need to be able to take care of another person.
Yep.
And so I went to go get a data science from Thailand, and help someone with data science, and they wanted to pay $90 an hour. And my business coach made $1,000 an hour. And I was like, how am I gonna, for $90 an hour on a freaking contract thing that doesn't come with any health benefits, that's not actually a good deal at all. And I see a cap. I see like I'm one person, and I see a cap in how much I'm going to be able to make, implementing services on my own. And I don't like to be limited. I like to feel free. So I decided I'm not going to this is just not something I'm going to do. I'm not going to do data science implementation work. So I looked at, okay, what can I do that would put me in the place where I can earn more money for myself, since I'm not working as an employee.
Yeah.
So then I started doing a lot of training. I was already doing training, actually. So I traveled the world training all these people all over the world. And that was cool. That paid pretty well. But then the problem became, do you really want to have a 2-year-old at home and be traveling to a different country every month, which I did not. So then I was teaching them data strategy at these workshops and stuff. So then I just decided, okay, I'm going to bring everything online so that I can work, just from home. And Yeah. And so then I thought, okay, I will do data strategy as a service, kind of like what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
For businesses.
Yeah.
But then that would make my target audience business leaders. And I built I built a whole product. That was an epic mistake.
Right.
I built a whole product for business leaders. And then since I learned this the hard way, do not do this. Then I thought, okay, well, I'll release this to my audience of data professionals. And they were like, what? Because they're not business leaders. It's a totally different, it's the same thing we're talking about with a book.
Yeah.
So I finally learned that lesson the hard way. And now I'm doing what I do. And it's like, okay, my audience is data professionals. I help data professionals. I don't really help implementation people. I only help data leaders and people who want to use their skills to start a business. And it's very narrow and very fixed, and no more like trying to go. I did for many years go like all over the place.
Yeah.
And I teach people, don't do what I did.
Well, I mean, look, all of the best improvements come from these learnings, don't they? And also it's interesting how your, it's possibly the same for many people, but your personal circumstance shaped your business circumstance, and your business circumstance then, shapes your personal situation, doesn't it? And I think it feels like you've sort of rolled with that quite nicely, and yeah, as you say, learned a lot on the way.
I have learned a lot. Yeah, but it's okay. It's okay, because these things you take with you. And it's like, yeah, that's another reason I'm so passionate about what I do, because I get to help people like not make the mistakes that I made. Like I learned the hard way on a lot of stuff. Now I have like people helping me. So I learn things less the hard way, but just like, man, when I see someone get a really great result, like right away, and they didn't spend really long time, like just making a lot of beginner's mistakes, it makes me really happy.
Yeah. It's paying it forward, isn't it? You're paying forward the learnings you've had to somebody else so that they can accelerate, go a bit faster.
Yeah. And they can have like more fun and more freedom, because ultimately our data skills, that's the whole thing, is we want to create something that works really well, that gets results, and it's fun and exciting. But if it doesn't work, and you like go up against obstacles and then it just fails, you don't feel happy, right? So like
yeah, well, I think that definitely depends on the mindset, because there's a growing trend of people who are loving failing. Certainly I think more successful people can talk about how good failures are. I think it's hard to feel failure when you don't feel your own success. But yeah, they're good learning points. They're good. It's good to pay that forward. Help people not make the mistakes that you made. They'll make other mistakes, no doubt. So everyone gets to learn.
It's true.
Everyone gets to learn.
Exactly. You can like, I have this, my business coach is like this incredible, like he's taught like hundreds of people to reach seven figures. And, he teach me, doesn't really, okay, so if you tell me what to do, what I need to do next, that actually, okay, great. Now I know. It's so hard to actually make things happen. Like, there's no magic bullet, but at least mentorship helps. The thing, I think it was for my book actually, and for the YouTube channel, I was, and for the business, I was going through some pretty like deep content analytics, and looking at over this year, what has been working and what has not been working on each of the different platforms. And I saw some of this stuff was just failing out. It was just bottoming out. It wasn't working. And I thought, you know what? I realized then, because like they say, investors don't invest in, they're not going to, if you haven't already failed a few times, they're not even interested in investing because you don't know the ropes. And I saw this, and I was like, actually knowing that this doesn't work and like not wasting my time and money and team support on stuff that doesn't work is just as valuable as knowing what does work.
Yeah, so the same, and even in that's with being a business leader, but I think that's the same, bringing it sort of to data science and data again. Knowing what not to do is as helpful as knowing knowing what to do. You know, if you're building a model, if you're building a pipeline, if you're trying to deliver a data product, I think that good understanding, and that comes from experience, or having that experience around you, and that becomes super important, doesn't it?
Yeah, I really want to see like a lot of these. I'm excited to see a lot of implementation people like stepping up. I'm sure it's going to happen in the next few years, where they actually are like kind of codifying their experience in a way of things like not to do and things to do, and like really getting out there with concrete like steps that help other people get ahead, more than just training. Because it's like, okay, training is one thing, but experience is like,
I think you train to learn, but I think it really embeds when you do it, and then you can see how it sort of manifests itself in the real world. Because as you say, a course is quite formulaic, isn't it? It teaches you step by step how to do something. Maybe it teaches you how to think a bit, but yeah, until you've sort of been there, done it, tried it, that's where the real learning connects. So so what's next for Lillian Pierson? More pivots? Is it bigger and better things? What does the future hold for you?
That's interesting. Let's see. Well, we're bringing my course. I've got some evergreen products, and we're bringing my course. We're bringing all that evergreen. And then I'm going to open up a mentorship program, which is also going to be available in evergreen. So what I've been doing is launching, opening and closing. So that's a whole thing, because it's just a different way. You've got to operationalize the whole system.
Yeah.
So that is what I'm doing next. And then the book, I'm working on the book update. So none of that can happen until after the book update. And then I'm trying to productize the entire business. We have a shop that's now set up. I'm trying to productize the entire business so that then I can focus on just like creating YouTube videos and let my team run everything, operationalize it. And then from there, I don't know yet. I go with the flow.
Settle on the beach in Koh Samui.
I mean, I got this 1 year, 3 year, and 5 year vision thing.
Yeah.
Right above my desk.
Okay.
And launch, I'm gonna be growing the business and doing the same thing that I do, working with data leaders, working with data entrepreneurs. Eventually, I want to get this business fully like operationalized, supported, and growing, and a point where it's doing well on its own and making good profits without needing me so much. And then I would then it will be an acceptable point for me to start something new. And I actually, one day after I retire from being a hardcore, like running my business, I would like to start a little like eco sanctuary for like mindset and coming here and like just like good, healthy, beautiful, helping like people have a retreat from the hustle and bustle of the daily grinds.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, we could all do a bit with that. Nice sort of well-being, clear the mind.
Yeah, that's a 5 year vision.
Cool.
And a house in Portugal.
And what? Sorry.
Yeah, and a house in Portugal.
Okay.
You like Portugal?
I've not been to Portugal, actually. No, I haven't been there.
Gosh, and you're so close. I've not been to Portugal either. Don't listen to me. Okay. I just have this idea.
I think a lot of people would be saying they'd love a house in Koh Samui, which you have. So yeah. We
do. We have a lot of properties here, actually.
Oh, that's good.
Been investing. Yeah. And so then it's going to be just somewhere else, south of Russia. I don't know.
Fair play. Well, look, it's been fascinating talking to you, Lillian. I know we spent a bit of time together before the show, but I've learned a hell of a lot about you on the show, and what it's like to have a full career in data, which I have, and you've had such a different one. So it's just really insightful to talk to you, and I really appreciate you being open and honest about your life and career in data. So thanks so much for coming on the show. It's been great.
Of course. Do you have a video? Do you have a video out there where you talk about your story, your career story in the data space?
Nope.
Like one
No,
place?
not really, no.
Okay, so I'm working on my YouTube channel now. It is destined. This is my mantra. This thing is destined for greatness. It's not there yet. It's getting there. It's going to take a while, but when it's going and when it's getting tens of thousands of views per video, then I would love to have you on for a show and you can share your story.
Love to. Yeah, absolutely love that. That would be great.
I would like that. I would really like that. And then right now, I don't want to invite anyone on until I get the numbers up, you know?
Yeah. Well, ready when you are. Ready when you are.
All right, thank you.
Can I just record a goodbye? Because I haven't hitting stop record yet. So I'm just going to thank you, and then I'll just edit that back into the bit before. So yeah, thank you for coming back on the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Jason. Really.
No worries, appreciate it. And thanks everyone for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll catch you again soon.